Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hola, buenos dias, bonjour, como ça va? Guten Morgen, ni hao. Hello to all of you, wherever you are in the world. This is the Jared Nicole Show. Thank you so much for tuning in every Tuesday from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Central Time. I am so excited to be back here with you guys. Another Tuesday, another week. It gets better and better each week, right, you guys? I'm super excited because we have an incredible show today with four incredible, and I mean, you guys, completely amazing guests. So please stay tuned because I'm going to bring my first guest very, very shortly. So I want to start with our question of the day today, you guys, which is, what have you survived? We've all survived something, right? I mean, we're surviving trying to get through this pandemic. We're surviving trying to get through COVID, but there's many people who have survived, you know, harder and just more serious and severe things. There's people who've survived domestic abuse, sexual abuse, a genocide, bullying, war. There's so many challenges and things in life that cause us to just kind of step back and figure out, how do we work through this? How do we overcome those things that continue to just bring us down? And if we're not careful, we can let those great challenges that we have in our life consume us. So again, I want you guys to just kind of reflect, because our key word for today is going to be survivor, because we're going to be talking to a lot of different people of life who have these incredible stories and how they overcame, I mean, some serious trauma. So again, you guys, please stay tuned, because I'm going to have four incredible guests, and I'm going to bring on my first guest, like I said, in just a minute. And for those of you who are tuning in, this is the Jared Nicole Show every Tuesday from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. And don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick 30-second break, and then we will be right back. Alrighty, you guys, we're back. And if you're just now tuning in, again, this is the Jared Nicole Show every Tuesday from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Central Time. I did want to stop and take a moment and just extend my condolences and think about the 10 people, including a police officer, who tragically lost their lives yesterday. I'm sure many of you have seen it all over news about the tragic shooting at a supermarket in Boulder, Colorado. The good thing is that the assailant was apprehended. I remember seeing some video footage of him with blood dripping down his leg, and he didn't have a shirt on, and he didn't have any shoes. But it's just so heartbreaking, and my thoughts and prayers are with the families of those victims. And I just can't imagine what they're going through. It's just these senseless acts, you guys. It's causing a lot of conversation. I've been seeing a lot of people on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram expressing, you know, is this another mass shooting? Is this another situation where we need stricter gun control laws? Whereas I hear other people on the opposing side saying, well, if people had, you know, guns and were just able to carry freely and all that stuff, they can, you know, people can shoot back and protect themselves. So it's just two different sides. But regardless of it, acts like these are just senseless and inexcusable, but it is bringing up important conversations that we need to have. So again, I want to extend my personal condolences to those families. That has been the 7th shooting within the past week. I'm going to read off some cities here. In Atlanta, there was a shooting on March 16th. In Stockton, California, March 17th. In Gresham, Oregon, March 18th. Another shooting in Houston on March 20th. Dallas, our very city, March 20th. Philadelphia, March 20th. And then now this, Boulder, Colorado, March 22nd, just yesterday. So that, you guys, that's a sign, and something needs to be done. It's really just a tragedy. And like I said, it's just heartbreaking to turn on the news and just see all of the senseless acts and violences. So I want to encourage you guys to just, pray for people who are going through these things. And if there's a way for you to help out and reach out, please, 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 please do that. So you guys, we're going to take another quick break. And then as promised, I am going to bring on my first guest, Miss Aline. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Alrighty, you guys, I'm gonna get ready and add Miss Aline to the stream right now. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Jaira. I'm great. Thank you.
I'm so glad to have you on the show. So excited to talk to you. You have an incredible, an inspiring story. So I want to go ahead and give this opportunity for you to introduce yourself and let everybody know who you are, and then we will dive right into the conversation from there.
Wow. Okay. So first of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be now. I don't take it lightly. It's really an honor to be in your show, and thank you for that opportunity. So my name is Aline Umutoni. I know my last name is kind of hard to pronounce. I am originally from Rwanda. I am a genocide survivor.
Wow.
So we encountered a genocide in 1994 against the Tutsis, and I am a survivor of the genocide against Tutsis. And so I wrote a book. And the title of the book is From Bondage to Freedom: How God Turned My Pain into a Purpose and My Mess into a Message. And so the book does not really display the pain that I've gone through, although I have gone through pain, but it actually magnifies the process of how I use the pain as a tool to become the person that I am today. So yeah.
I love that. And I know people are going to be super excited and uplifted after reading the book. So my first question is, it's such a loaded question, because I'm sure everybody's wondering, what was it like? Paint us a picture, walk us through it. What was it like to be there, going through, experiencing, suffering from the genocide in 1994 in Rwanda?
First of all, I have to give it a little bit of history, because many people are not aware of the history of my country. And that is also why I wrote the book, to share my story, but also to give a little bit of insight of people to talk about my country. Because most of the time when I say I'm from Rwanda, they're like, oh, Hotel Rwanda, but it's not Hotel Rwanda, it's not Rwanda, okay? It's just a movie that shares a story about somebody's experience. It's not the experience of every single person. So my country had three tribes, but two main tribes. So the majority tribe were called the Hutus, and then the second one were the minority. They were called the Tutsis. And then we had a third tribe called the Twa. So there were some contingency from before, like the 1950s, and the ideology was like perpetrated like in 1994. It was something that was progressive. It was an ideology that was like permeated into like the political lineology, and also permeated into the mindset of the Hutu people. There was a party called the Hutu Power that felt that they were superior, more superior and more privileged, I can say, than the Tutsis, and they had actually called us cockroaches. So we were just like animals that needed to die. So they actually build that ideology on like children, on people, and also they place the 10 commandment of Hutus that you will find in my book, where they actually limited from studying, from going to school, to being into administration, in military. So they made sure that every sector, sector, political sector, administrative sector, financial sector, economic sector, the Hutu power. So
Wow.
which limited actually Tutsis to actually even evolve and be the best version of themselves, and it caused a lot of exile. So the first genocide occurred in 1959, and then after that they kept Tutsis slowly, but the second genocide was what happened on April 7, 1994, and that's where I was there, and I was 5 years old at the time. So when it happened, I was with my dad, and I witnessed him being killed with machetes, and I had to survive on my own. I would say on my own, but I'm Christian, and I don't even think it's Christianity, because there is no way I could have survived on my own at 5, because there were other 5-year-olds. So I believe God helped me survive that. So it was terrifying, like being there at 5 years old. I didn't even know I was Tutsi, because my dad never told me. Okay, so I didn't know I was Tutsi. All I knew, I was called a cockroach. All I knew, I had to run for my life, and it was just like running from one place to another place. Watching people being killed under dead bodies, acting dead in the morning. Running at night, making sure that you hide in the forest, and making sure that nobody sees you. Like it was like an ongoing phases of it's just when you're in a place of survival, like your mind completely shut down. It's like you have to do everything you can do to survive. And one of the things that I would remember the most, I found myself in a toilet, and I had to eat the excrements or in the toilet. So that's how you get into a place of like survivor, that you want to survive. You will do anything to survive. So for me, the state of mind at was, first of all, my dad, when you read my book, you will understand a little bit. My dad hid me before he was killed. He hid me under the bed. But unfortunately, I witnessed his death, because I heard him his body members being like literally like decimated. So it was hard. I talk about it, and I feel like I'm going back to that moment, because it's amazing thing that any person could ever go through. So yeah.
My gosh. You witnessed your father get killed. You had to, because you were in a state of survival, you had to play dead, lying under with dead bodies at 5 years old. You had to, just to eat, just to feed your body, eat things out of a toilet. I can't even imagine what that would do to a 5-year-old. And yet you're sitting here today, and just by your demeanor, your personality, your smile, we would never know that you went through something, I mean, as tragic and horrific as that was. So what are the steps that you took to get there? Because that's serious trauma. I mean, did you seek out help and get therapy? What are some of the things that you did to overcome severe trauma?
Well, when you read the book, I have 25 chapters. That's not the only trauma here. So of course, the first trauma was witnessing my father being dead. The second trauma was watching all these people being killed, cut to pieces, and all these kind of things that you will see in the book. Then I was sexually abused for 3 years. So I'm also a sexual abuse survivor. on top of that. But for me, I always say that for me, the genocide was because I was 5 years old. So I had no notion of understanding what being. All I knew was I had to run for my life. So I did not know the political implication of being Tutsi. I did not know anything about, like, I was just a child running for her life. That's all I knew. So the process to I survived the genocide, of course, I had to go through therapy. I've seen 15 therapists. So for me to be sitting here smiling, I had to go through a process of healing and therapy. But all I can say, what helped me to talk about it, like to be able to exteriorize what I saw, what I witnessed, and how I felt. And that's why I encourage many people, any person who survives anything, I'm not talking about genocide because Americans have never been to the actually, many Americans don't know what the genocide means, except if you are Jewish, that you've gone through the Holocaust and stuff like that. However, there is all type of survivor. There is domestic violence, is surviving all kind of thing, pain can be anything, betrayal, rejection, and any kind of thing that you've survived, a bankruptcy, financial lack, or any kind of thing. So, and you have to first acknowledge that you need healing, because for me, I had to get to a place to realize I am broken. Okay, not only watching my dad was traumatic, but growing up without a dad as a girl, it's not easy. Like, that you just need to feel, and like to this day, I miss my dad. I wish I had my dad next to me. I was raised in so many countries, and I always tell myself, if my dad was alive, I wouldn't be raised in so many countries. I wouldn't be missed through so much pain and trauma. So you have to get to a place where you acknowledge that you need help, that you are not okay, because most of the time we are really good at, like, wearing makeup and say, like, and say I'm okay, everything, like wearing a mask. We wear a mask every day. We try to survive at work. We try to survive and thrive and build ourselves and be the better version of ourselves, but we can never be the better version of ourselves until we get to and say, okay, there's something right now, I'm not okay,
Right.
and I need help. So I had to get to that place of, like, I'm not okay, because there were so many triggers. So there were things that would just trigger, like, I'll be in relationship and I would just like I would just like like, because I wanted to. It's just because of, like, that trauma of not feeling like I had to run for my life. So I had to always, like, not trust people. And so it was like that place of coming to is a problem. You have a problem.
Right.
You need help. And I had to seek help. And by seeking help, it allowed me to evaluate my emotions, understand my emotions, and heal from it. So it was a process. It was really a process.
Wow. So tell me about this amazing thing that you're doing. You have a book tour, and I saw that you're getting other survivors and you guys are coming together. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Oh my goodness. This is so, for me, I wrote this book. Actually, I don't like talking about my book, because I literally, for me, it's a tool. I use it as a testimony to kind of, like, help people to have more hope. I'm a motivational by being. I'm somebody who motivates. Like, it's something that I do for, like, I can do it for free for year, for hours and days and trillion. But I wanted to use my story to show people that God can take your pain and turn it into a purpose. That God can message. I was always told that I was not good enough. I was always told that I could never be anybody, that I could never thrive, that I could never, and everything I was told that I would never be. God allowed me to be that thing. God to go to school. God allowed me to find love. God allowed me to, so everything that like the abuser or the perpetrator, like, did not want me to have, today I have it. And I wrote this book to kind of, like, bring what you can you can take back your life. You can be a better person. You can come out of depression. You can come out of suicidal thoughts. You can be the better version of yourself. However, on the other side, I also wrote the book to history of my country to bring awareness of what really happened. Because in this day and age, we have people that deny that the genocide ever happened. And me, I'm a very fervent activist against it, because saying that the genocide never happened, it means my grandfather, I lost 98% of my family on my father's side. Now, if they deny the genocide, it means these people died in vain. It means that in the 100 days that it happened, it means that these people died in vain. There was no war. How can it be a war when the other side didn't have anything to fight against? People were burned in their own house. Okay, there were kids that were separate, literally like pulled separately, like the body side. Okay, open their stomach wide open. So that's not war. I don't think that's war, because I've watched war movies, and this what I've watched and witnessed. It was not a war. It was perpetrated. It was an ideology. It was orchestrated and very, very, very well, and wipe the Tutsi community, the Tutsi peoples in Rwanda. So I asked God. I said, God, if you give me the strength to write my book, if you give me the strength to be able to release this book, I'm going to go to Africa, and I'm going to share my story. And I'm not going to go alone, because I'm not the only person who survived the genocide. There's so many genocide survivors. There's so many authors. There's so many people that wrote books. There's so many people that have. Some of them were 20, some of them were 30, some of them were 15, some of them were 5, and some of the people, the speakers that will be there, they were old enough, they were mature enough, they knew the history, they knew what was happening, and they had their spouses, their children, their parents. So I was like, I want to build a platform where other Rwandan people can come and share their story. And for me, why am I doing that? Is to also bring silence the people that try to deny that the fact that the genocide against Tutsi never happened. Because when we keep silence, we allow those people to speak louder and teach their children that is not true. So we have to be able to shine bright the light and say, okay, you can't say that there was no genocide. What about my mom? What about my dad who I lost? What about my husband, my grandfather, my grandmother, whoever the person? I'm going on tour. So next Saturday, I'm going to be in Seattle, Washington, and I'm going to I have four guest speakers and myself. So we're going to be five genocide survivors that will share their stories, and it will be live stream channel in my Facebook page. So I want to bring awareness to people living in America, people living in the world, that there was a genocide, and they are people, real people, on it to this day. And many people are like, but it's been 27 years. Why don't you get over it? You can't get over losing 98% of your family. Think about it. I don't have a grandfather. I don't have an uncle. I don't have an auntie. I don't have my dad. I don't have my. How can you get over it? So it's not something that you just get over it. So I want to take this moment, because we are entering into the commemoration of the 27th year of remembrance of the genocide, and I want to take that opportunity to people that will listen to us, that okay, here are the story of some survivors, because if we have to line up, we will be so many. There's so many people that survived, that to this day, some of them are still healing, some of them are still processing, others have shared their stories. So it's a platform for me to be able to allow them to channel their story and share it to the world.
Right. Again, you are so inspiring and just so incredible. And I feel and I love your passion. My next question is for you is, a lot of times I will say, for Americans or just other countries in general, when other countries are experiencing, genocides or wars, a lot of people have the mindset or notion, Why should we care about what's happening in Rwanda? Why should we care about what's happening in London? It doesn't, I'm over here in America. It doesn't, it doesn't affect me. Like you just said, people are like, oh, get over it. It happened so and so many years ago. So what would you say to any Americans who might still have that mindset? Why should I care about this now? Or they might have a limited point of view because, like I said, when Hotel Rwanda came out, that's kind of all people really know or think about, what happened in 1994. And I'm sure for you, of course, that's a movie. It doesn't even it doesn't even explain all of the pain and suffering and trauma, and probably doesn't even paint the picture. I'm sure you would agree. And so what would you say to anyone who has that mindset?
First of all, if we have to go, I'm somebody who's really who does not go into political discussion or anything like that. But I can just say, whenever we talk about Rwanda, we talk about Hotel Rwanda. But if we have to go through that line, Hotel Rwanda was actually like a fake line. The person who shared his story was not telling the truth. In prison, he's incarcerated in my country, and he's on trial because he, instead of saving people, he was actually part of the people that killed many people. So those are things that more passion and more drive to change the narrative, because I don't want to ever talk about my country and relate my country to Hotel Rwanda, because relating Rwanda to Hotel Rwanda means relating, but Hotel Rwanda is not the history of Rwanda. It's just a Hollywood movie. To me, Hotel Rwanda is a fiction movie. It's not a true story. And in all honesty, when I think about the reason, so if somebody say, okay, Aline, why should we care? Like, we are American, we've lived here. Let me be honest, we are 7 billion in this world. We are all affected by each other. Like the war in North Korea, okay, the war in Iraq affects America. Like nobody can be sick like isolated and say, okay, I'm just living my own life. Like, we all in some way or another we affect directly, because we also have, although an American person can say, okay, I live in America, I don't have anything to do with American, but you may have troops in Africa. Okay, you may have American troops in Africa. If you are a mother of a soldier or a mother of somebody who's in the army, definitely you are affected by the nations outside of America. So it's important to also know the history of other countries, because it's not just to know for leisure, because it also affects how you see the world, how you envision the world. Because I feel like the world is not just it's not just what you can see with your eyes. You have to think of the world as a globe. We're all in this together. It's like we are I see the globe as like you are in a room with different you are in a house with different rooms. So if you're in a house with different rooms, if a room is leaking, even if it's not the room you are in, if you do not fix that side, the whole house can leak. So if we see something in one country and we are not able to help, or we are not able to light or enlighten, we may say, oh, you know what, I'm good, it doesn't affect me. What if that ideology comes here? What if that ideology, and let me be honest, with the racial segregation, it's here. It might not be a genocide. It might be as a genocide, but there's a racial segregation in America. So it's not. Those are things that we have to for us to be able to solve some situation and problems, we also have to learn from they deal with things, to be able to also take the lessons out, learn to bring it to America, to any country and everything. So that's why you can't say, okay, I am American, or I'm a European, or doesn't affect me, or I'm this African. But again, it's like a house with rooms. If you say, okay, the basement is fine, the basement is leaking, I don't care about the basement, I don't sleep in the basement. Let me tell you, if the basement is leaking, surely if you don't fix it, the water will just come to your room.
Right. No, I mean that's a great way to look at it, and I don't think most people see it as that. They just see it like you said, I'm here, they're there, they're there. Why? A lot of people find themselves asking, why should I care? Why does it matter? And I think that's a great way for you to, put it in perspective for people to change their thinking, because again, it's all about mindset. So my next question is for anyone who's out there watching you right now, and maybe of course they didn't survive a genocide per se, but they're surviving domestic abuse, they're surviving being bullied at school, they're just trying to get through and survive. Do you want what do you want them to take away from you speaking? If they read your book or just come across you or write to you and say, hey Aline, like I found what you said, so inspirational, but I'm still struggling. What do you want people to be able to take away? What is your key message?
My key message is, it's never over.
Mm.
Don't give up. Your life is not a season. Just like when we are experiencing winter, we know that winter is not going to be the end of the year. Like, we're not going to experience 12 months of winter. It's coming. So when we start winter, everybody is like, oh my goodness, it's so bad. But we have the notion that spring is coming. We have the notion that, okay, it may be cold right now, it may be dark right now, maybe there's no sun around. So for any person experiencing abuse, experiencing any kind of pain, or who has experienced it, first of all, you have to understand that it's not the end of your life. You don't have to end your life. Yes, I've experienced. If when you read my mention 3 suicide attempts that I did, but I want to be transparent to let you know that yes, you can get to a place where you just feel like, okay, you don't deserve to be alive, but that's a lie. You deserve to be alive, and it's not over. So if we survivor, it doesn't matter what kind of survival it is, divorce, any kind of thing, it's not over. You can take back your life, but how do you do that? Because many of us, we don't know how to do it, and many people will tell you, just get over it. How can you heal from something that is so deep in your soul that you feel like you can no longer get over, like you cannot come out of it, like you feel for me, for example, when I was sexually abused, I was raped, I talk about rape because it was never consensual. So I was sexually abused for 3 years, and my abuser always told me, you are an orange pressed. When you make an orange, you press the orange and then you throw the orange, you don't keep the orange, throw it away. So he always told me that I was nothing, that was just left, that is nothing. But let me tell you that nothing, that orange pressed, when I finally realized that yes, I may be a pressed orange right now, I may be, but if I can put that pressed orange in the hand of a greater God, a greater power, a greater creator, he can turn that pressed orange into a whole woman. And that's what happened. I first had to work to have an encounter with the King of Kings. If there's one thing for me, my testimony cannot be dissociated with my relationship with God, because the reason why I have a sound mind, the reason why I am not depressed, I am not suicidal, I am because I had encountered the love of God, and I've encountered really true forgiveness. I even went to prison to forgive the person who ordered my father's death. So it's something that I did. I didn't do it out of my strength. It's the King of Kings who healed me, who gave me peace to know that, okay, my dad, he is gone, but my dad is in heaven, and I can release the person who took my dad away, because I know that God is with me, and he will give me the fatherhood that I need, the sense of a father that I didn't have. I can find it in God.
Wow.
So don't give up, and give your pain to God, and God will turn it into a purpose.
Wow. You just said that you went to the prison to visit the person who murdered your father. What did you say to him? What was that like? I can't even imagine the amount of courage it took to just do that. How were you? I know you said, your faith, and you prayed, and being able to eventually forgive, but what did you say, and how did they respond? Had they forgiven themselves? Did they feel guilty?
This happened on October 12th. The reason why I mentioned the date is because it was the day before my birthday. And
Mm.
first of all, I went back to Rwanda for the first time in 2012, and I after leaving Rwanda at the age of 5 during the genocide, I went back. So it was when I went back. I had I had started my journey of healing. So I started my journey of healing in 2011. So um, a place where, and forgiveness. Let me put it this way. And forgiveness is a poison. You
Mm.
drink a poison, and you expect the other person to die, but you're drinking that poison. The person who hurt you, you are the one drinking the poison. So for
Mm.
me, I was drinking that poison for years. Okay, before I even go through that and answer that question, I have to also reiterate that I lived for 3 years with one of the people that killed my father. That lived with that person, and I actually and I envisioned him as my father. You will read the story in the book. So the betrayal was not just the betrayal is deeper in my family, because by strangers. My dad was killed by people that are related to my mother.
Mm.
Okay, so it's not far, it's very close to home. So when I went to prison to meet that man, who was actually a very close friend to my dad, of his best friend, I went there for two reasons. I didn't go there for him. I went there for myself. I went there because I told myself that if I have to leave, and if I have to leave a legacy, I'm into legacy, because I tell myself that if I survived, because so many people died, okay, I wasn't supernatural. I didn't do anything special. I was 5 years old. I believe that it was for a purpose, and God always like talk about offspring and legacy. I just wanted to make sure that I leave a legacy of faith, that what when I have my own children, I can tell them, you can forgive.
Mm.
People can hurt you, but you can forgive them. But how
Yeah.
can I tell them they can forgive if I'm not forgiving myself, if I'm not forgiving the people? So when I went there, I looked at him, and he had no remorse. He had no he didn't feel like he did anything wrong.
Mm.
But I forgave him not because he asked me for forgiveness, but I forgave him for me to have the peace of mind. I forgave him for me to be able to move on. And from the time, I remember when I left that prison, oh my goodness, I felt like there was a load that was taken off my back. Happiest person I couldn't even explain. Like, the people that I went with were so mad at me. They were like, what? How can you do this? How can you say you forgive him? Look,
Right.
he's not even accepting that he did. But for me, I felt so much peace, because I really more in mind. I don't have to drink the poison anymore. I don't
Yeah.
have to be bitter anymore, because this man, he's in his Tutsis. Um, he's dying. He has a heart condition. So for me, I don't have to hold him accountable of my life. And live in that circle of like bitterness when I can live of a circle of freedom. And when I really free.
Wow. Wow. You, I keep saying it, but you are incredible and amazing. And I just want to let everybody know her information is there at the bottom, her IG, her Facebook, her YouTube, and we will definitely be keeping up. And where can people go and get your book, From Bondage to Freedom?
I was about to say that. Thank you for letting me know. So you can purchase the book. If you don't want a signed book, you can purchase the book on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Christians, like anywhere books are sold. But if you want a book signed, if you want your book to be signed, okay, and if you want a gift, because I'm gonna give you gifts, okay, I don't know if you can see, so you will have and then you can have a gift for like whatever, a gift card from me, and there's a note there so that you will remember me. But so if you want these two plus the book signed and shipped to you, signed and a book shipped with the two gifts that I just showed you, is $20 in America. And you can have the details on all my social media handles. On my Instagram, I have Cash App, Zelle. It's there. I'm sorry. But it's $20. So, and once you put in the detail, you can put the name that you want to me to sign on, and then personal message. So the reason why I like signing books to people, I just don't sign just Aline and sign. No, I speak life to the person, because I believe in the power of declaration. I believe in the power of speaking life to send you a personal note. And whenever you feel low, you open that book and you read the message that I wrote to you. And I know God can just like immerse you and grow you and build you up. So yes, so if you want a book signed, so it's $20, shipping and handling included. For people in the US, for people in Canada is $25, and for people elsewhere is $30.
Okay, wow, that's great. Thank you so much, Eileen, for coming on the show. I will definitely be going. You said it's here in Dallas, so I will definitely be attending that one for sure. And we will be keeping up with you. And we of course would love to have you back on the show. So thank you so much for coming on the show today and taking time out of your day. And you and I will be talking soon. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. Alrighty, you guys. Oh, there's so many just great words that I can just say, and so many amazing things. Her story is so powerful. The fact that she is just as jolly and just vivacious and animated, and you can tell she is just, using her story and any platform that she had to just spread awareness and let people know it's never too late. Like she said, it's not over. If there's something that you're going through, domestic abuse, childhood trauma, war, bullying, I mean, you guys, she survived the genocide in Rwanda against the Tutsis, and look at how she is just thriving. So again, her information is right there at the bottom. But anyways, you guys, the show is moving right along. We're going to take a quick 30-second break, and I'm going to bring on my next two guests, a husband and wife, Kevin and Marcy, who I'm so excited for you guys to meet. So please don't go away, you guys. We will be right back.